Between two small villages, a lonely road cut through a thick, silent forest. By day, it was a normal path used by farmers, traders, and travelers. But as night fell, the road became a place everyone avoided. The elders in both villages shared the same warning: never pass through that forest after midnight. They said something strange happened there right when the clock struck 12. An old church would appear out of nowhere. Not a church built by human hands, but one that vanished again before sunrise. Most young people laughed it off as just another village myth to scare children. But the old folks never laughed. Some of them claimed they had seen it, and those who did never walked that road at night again. One cold evening, a traveler named Michael was heading home. He'd spent the day trading in a distant market and was exhausted. The night was already dark, with heavy clouds hiding the moon. Michael had a choice: take the long way around the forest, adding 2 hours to his journey, or take the shortcut through the woods. He chose the forest road. He'd heard the stories, of course, but he didn't believe them. Ghost stories, he muttered with a small laugh. People always fear what they don't understand. With a lantern in his hand, Michael stepped onto the path. At first, everything seemed normal. The wind whispered through the trees, and crickets chirped in the distance. But the deeper he went, the stranger the night became. The wind died down. The air grew colder. The trees stood like tall, dark watchers. Soon, the forest fell completely silent. No insects, no animals, no wind. Just a heavy, unnerving silence. Michael felt a knot of unease tighten in his stomach. He looked up, but the thick branches blocked out the sky. Then a sound shattered the quiet: dawn. The echo of a single bell toll rolled through the forest. Michael froze, his heart hammering against his ribs. Dawn. It rang again. It sounded exactly like a church bell, but he knew there was no church anywhere near this road. He cautiously aimed his lantern into the trees. "Who's there?" he called out. Only silence answered. Then the bell rang again. Dong, dong. This time, it sounded closer. Curiosity began to replace his fear. He followed the sound, venturing off the path and deeper into the forest. With each step, the bell grew louder. Suddenly, through the trees, he saw it. An old stone church. Standing in the middle of the woods, Michael stared in disbelief. The building looked ancient. Its stone walls cracked and covered in moss. The tall windows glowed faintly with candlelight, and the heavy wooden doors were wide open. A cold shiver ran down his spine. He was certain this church wasn't here before, yet there it stood. Silent, waiting, the bell tolled once more, dong without thinking. Michael found himself walking toward the entrance. The ground around the church was strangely cold, the air heavy, as if the place itself didn't belong in the world of the living. He stepped inside. The moment he crossed the threshold, the church doors slowly swung shut behind him with a deafening thud. Inside, the air was freezing. Rows of old wooden benches, many of them broken and cracked with age, filled the hall. Candles burned quietly along the walls, their weak flames flickering as if disturbed by some unseen movement. The church seemed empty, but something felt very, very wrong. Then he heard it. Whispers, soft, ghostly voices echoing all around him. At first, they were faint, impossible to understand, but slowly they grew louder. Dozens of voices whispering together in a chilling chorus. Michael spun around. "Hello," he called. No one answered, but the whispers continued. Then the wooden benches began to creak, one by one, as if invisible people were taking their seats. Michael's breathing grew heavy. "Who is here?" he shouted, his voice trembling. Suddenly, the church bell began to ring violently. Dong, dong, dong. The candles flickered wildly, and at the altar, a tall, dark figure slowly materialized. It looked like a priest in a long black robe. The figure stood perfectly still, then slowly, it lifted its head, Michael gasped in horror. The priest's face was a void. There were no eyes, no nose, no mouth, only a swirling darkness where a face should be. The whispers stopped instantly. The faceless priest spoke, its voice deep and echoing. "You have entered the Church of the Forgotten." Michael stumbled backward, his legs shaking. What is this place?" he stammered. The priest raised a hand slowly. "All who gather here were once lost. Around the church, dark, shadowy figures began to form on the benches, sitting silently, watching in. We are the souls that were never remembered." Michael's heart pounded like a drum. "I didn't mean to come here," he pleaded. "I only heard the bell." The dark priest turned toward the door. "You may leave, but you must never return." The church doors slowly creaked open, and a cold wind rushed through the hall. Michael didn't hesitate. He ran out of the church as fast as he could, plunging back into the dark forest. He ran without stopping, branches scratching his arms, roots tripping his feet. Finally, he burst out of the trees and back into his village. When he dared to look back toward the forest, the church was gone. It had vanished as if it had never existed. The next morning, Michael told the villagers what he had seen. Some laughed, but others grew pale with fear. One very old man stood up. "My grandfather told me about that place," he said quietly. "The church appears every midnight. It is where lost souls gather to pray for peace." From that day forward, no one ever used the forest road at night. And even today, travelers say that if you walk through that forest exactly at midnight, you might just hear a single bell ringing deep in the darkness. Dong dong, and somewhere between the silent trees, an old church door is slowly opening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more mysterious stories.